And are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Yes, we are live. Live from Arlington, New York. Yeah, Arlington, New York. Arlington, Vermont. Um, this is Happy Valley Hobbies, and these are hobbies that make me happy. I'm Mr. Katie, and things are a little bit discombobulated this evening because I had to use my laptop as an actual laptop someplace else. So I had to like disconnect everything. You know, the other two monitors, the cameras, the microphone, the snowball microphone, and everything had to come off so I could actually, carry the laptop. So things are a little bit discombobulated, and hopefully it's back to what it was. So much, to making sure everything had to be back on. It was a little bit confusing. It's like, why wasn't the cameras connected and all that? And found out that the connection, the USB connection, was not quite there. So after unplugging it and replugging it, and it seemed to have made it so um, my cameras are up and running. Well, hello there, Mystic, and how do you do? Uh, I am trying to figure out the important details of being able to. Um, and it seems that StreamYard does have a thing saying that, hey, you uh, there's a live stream coming up, and here's all the information and how many are waiting and all that. So it's one of those things. I'm trying to figure that out. Probably need to talk to somebody who a little bit more of an expert on StreamYard. Um, Mainly because it's those small little details of like the time, things like timing. Uh, I'm so used to of um, the timing on Zoom, which is pretty long, and StreamYard it's a little bit shorter. So it's trying to get used to the quicker timing um, is a little bit of a challenge. Um, Also, one thing I've never figured out to do is making sure that when I have the YouTube on, making sure that it's on mute first. Uh, yeah, well, I mean, everyone is using uh, what they're familiar with. I was using Zoom. I'm no longer using Zoom on that, but they keep on saying that, hey, you haven't paid your bill yet. It's like, I got to turn around and contact Zoom and saying that I just, I like your product, but it's not fitting out um, what it is. And it's nice to know that the audio and sound are good. That means uh, watch out. I'm going to hit the microphone. That it actually is working from the correct source. It did was for some reason it was having for the actual uh, audio and video are good. Yes, yeah. Sometimes it gets a little confusing, but I understood what you were asking about. Uh, but yeah, it's one of those things of. I also decided to change in how I was actually titling everything. Before it was live stream number such and such. For this year, I'm actually putting the date instead of which one it is. So if somebody wants to uh, in the future look at stuff, they actually have a date on it, not a which number it is. Um, but it seems that as of this recording, looks like YouTube has taken away. Uh, you had You used to have 3 options. Now you only have 2. One was most popular, and what was the latest. They used to have what was the earliest, so you can turn around and look at somebody's first YouTube videos, which could have been possibly 10 years or plus ago. Now, if you want to look at their some of their earlier ones, you have to you're almost, especially if it's a large channel where they have a lot of videos, you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So you can't skip to the beginning. Not sure why they took that option out. I first noticed it on the mobile, then they turned around and it's like, well, I can still do it on the desktop, and they got rid of it on a desktop also. A little annoyed about that, but hey. I'm already subscribed to way too many channels that I'm subscribed to so many channels that I can't actually, there's no way I can actually read them or go through them all. Thankfully, some of them have, unfortunately, have stopped broadcasting. Not quite sure some of them I'm not sure the reason why. Some I'm assuming why they stopped. Yes, YouTube is making a lot of changes. And change can be good, change can be bad. One thing that I'm noticing, which to me is annoying, is that channels that, like myself, can't qualify for monetization because they don't have the subscribers or watch time hours. They have commercials on them. So since they're not monetized, that means all the ad revenue from that ad is going straight to YouTube. It's not going to the creator at all. And personally, it's like I'm not really doing this for the money at this point. That was the original intent, but not doing it now. But at the same time, hello there, John. In my opinion, if someone's putting stuff out there and they're planning on actually going out and monetizing it, it makes, I would have to say it probably makes ones who want to monetize a little angry because, here there's an ad on their video and they're getting nothing out of it. It's like there's times that I see an ad and all that, and then I look at how many subscribers they got, and they have about the same. They usually have a little bit more than I do, but at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, why? Why is I want to say I sort of understand why it's happening. It's like because that means YouTube gets the ad revenue and don't have to pay. They don't have to pay the content creator. It's like, oh, it's one of those things that, well, you're not up to our standards of getting monetized and all that, but we'll advertise on it and get all the ad revenue instead. So I'm starting to, that's my assumption of why I'm starting to actually see a lot of recommendations for channels that have less than 1,000 viewers. I mean, I've been getting a lot of them have been around like 300 or 300 or 400 or something like that. Basically way below what they're supposed to, what they're allowed to have before they stop monetizing. And I think that's why, from my end, that's why I've been seeing a lot more of these smaller channels being pushed, because they can turn around and basically put an ad on there, and don't have to worry about paying the creator. And I think that's, I'm not sure if anyone else has been noticing that, but that's what I've been noticing on my end. But it's one of those things of talking about old and new projects. I'm still finishing up the small little cars that I'm doing. The thing is, I have multiple cars of the same thing, and I'm learning on better ways to put them together, especially the bobber boxcar by Congoino Models. The first one didn't. Well, yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to not only, I would have to say, not only Google, but any large corporation, is that it seems that they're doing their best to trying to find ways to get free money, and that's basically screwing everybody over. It seems that they only stop screwing people over when they screw over the investors, and that's a big no-no. You can screw everybody else, screw the investors. I forgot the name of the guy that he bought this medicine and then raised the price, something like 600% or something like that, and then people who are relying on that message, hello Kyle, relying on that medicine, couldn't get it anymore. They couldn't afford it because it went up, from I think it was like $60 to $600 or something ridiculous like that. And it's one of those things of, the whole thing was, well, I need to recoup the money out of it and all that, recoup the research and development. And a lot of people are saying that, wait a minute, it's already been, the research has already been recouped. You don't need to recoup it anymore. But then I guess later on he just, but it was okay because he's making profit and all that. And so, yes, there was a hullabaloo on it, but he wasn't reprimanded for it. Then later on, he wound up, if I remember correctly, he wound up doing something with the stock market that was a little off-putting and all that. And then he finally got reprimanded for it. But, screwing over a lot more people, it was sort of like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. But he didn't even get a slap on the wrist. But then as soon as he turned around and actually, screwed over investors and all that, then that was a completely different thing, which unfortunately, that's how this country runs, from my perspective. Speaking of perspectives, let's change cameras. The interesting thing is now the camera for the overhead has changed positions. So instead of being, the thing is, it's, the name of it is live camera. I haven't been able to figure out how to change the name of the camera, but I have two live cameras, and one is obviously on top of the other. However, originally the overhead camera was set up for, it was the live camera on top. Now, after everything got reassigned, it's now on the bottom. You are not able to see that because you don't see that screen, but it is one of those things I got to sort of kind of remember that, it's the camera on the bottom now, not the one on the top. Now, these are older projects. I am thinking for tonight, pretty much painting this one. Pretty much using pretty much the same color. And pretty much like this one, pretty much coloring the entire thing red. This I'm aiming for as black. That's the one I was looking for. I was wondering why some of the I couldn't find the open bottle of this, and it's like, oh, it's already on the table. All right, let's get a. Let's see, we get a decent brush. And something that's, there we go. But you also might wind up touching this one up because as you can see, there's a couple of spots that don't look like they've been hit right. It's one of those things of, since I got the paint out, might as well touch it up a little bit. I'm also going to see about right now I can't find the silver that was being used for the roof on this. Because I'm planning on doing the same, pretty much the same paint scheme on this boxcar. Now I haven't figured out what paint scheme to do on the tanker. I haven't figured that one out yet. No problem, Mystic. It's one of those things of every now and then it's one of those things of I probably should be doing more lurking, during other live streams, because, well, I could probably get a lot more done being more in the background than participating. Now I got 3 more of these bobber boxcars, and with those, taking what I've learned with this first one, and then improving upon how these are done. One thing I'm going to see about doing is that the toolbox has got to go. I'm actually thinking of maybe this be possibly on a wreck train or something like that, which that would make sense of having having a toolbox on the bottom. But on the other ones, I'm planning on basically cutting it off here and then filing that flat. make it look more like an boxcar and an revenue boxcar instead of a non-revenue boxcar. And one thing I'm going to be doing eventually, not with these cars yet, because I don't feel confident to do it with these cars, is also to do weathering. Eventually, these will be weathered, but I want to practice on cars that are not my period, that figuring out how to do weathering on other stuff first, and then do then do these once I feel confident to do a decent job. It's not going to be award winning, but at least I want to be proficient enough to make it look okay. Yeah, Kyle. I mean, sometimes that's what a lot of things that you have to do is practice, and practicing on things that you don't care how it comes out is a way to bring up your skill level, because if it winds up being a total flop, and it's like, okay, you're not going to do that again. But it does give you a sort of like, oh, okay, that's what I should not do. And then when you get to a point where it's like, all right, well, get to a point where you can actually not necessarily be perfect, but if you make a mistake, be able to recover from it. And sometimes, I mean, that's pretty much how, actually in real life it is. Yeah, you can make mistakes, but if you can figure out a way to recover from it, it's probably a little bit more important than being perfect. Let's try not to get anything on the coupler. Paint on the coupler would be bad, because that will hurt the operation of it. And if you look at this, it doesn't look like it went together. And so that's another thing, is that if you make a mistake, it's like how, there's different ways to correct it. Like, like what I'm planning on this one, it's like I'm making a maintenance away car. It's like, okay, it didn't go together the way I wanted it to, but it, having it as a maintenance away car does sort of make it not a total loss. Another thing is that maybe turning around and making it actually, let's go that way. Since that's supposed to be wood, paint that section wood. or car body color. And then we'll make the rest of it black. And also another thing is things don't have to be perfect because, well, things are not perfect in real life. And if you look at a lot of the if you're actually able to look at prototypes real close and all that, they're usually a little bit more forgiving on stuff. Like these bolts right here would not be exactly perfectly in line with each other. It might be slightly off. You only make a lot of people make the assumption that, oh, everything's all nice and straight. It's like if you look at a riveted boiler or something like that, even on different things, you will actually realize that they are not as perfectly straight as you would assume. Hello there, Grandpa. Where else? Didn't see you sneak in. That's one of the things that I have to eventually do is change my location of my computer monitor or monitors. Because right now, where the computer monitor is not conducive for doing the live stream on the bench. It made sense when I was working with Nutrex modeling, but now that I'm doing stuff by myself, not as, because I wasn't doing anything on the bench when I was with Nutrex modeling. I was sort of like in the background making sure that everything was running smoothly. So having the monitors where they are now made perfect sense. But now, not so much. And one of the interesting things is that I've recently found out, since I do the 1876, is that they weren't as common as the eight wheelers, but they did have 4-wheel freight cars. Pretty much, you usually think of 4-wheel freight cars as a European thing, but they did have in the United States, and I think they had them up until, I could be wrong, but I want to say up until the 1920s. They got rarer and rarer, and it also depended on what service they were in. But they did have 4-wheel there was four-wheel equipment up until about then. Technically, they actually still have four-wheeled equipment. Ooh, dinner. So what's for dinner, John? Make us all hungry. My assumption is that the four-wheel equipment was for loads that were not quite less. They needed more than less than carload, but they didn't need a full-size boxcar or full-size car of whatever it is. I think the last thing that wound up being four-wheeled was the caboose, because they didn't need anything that was really that size. It was basically the law turned around and said, no, you need to actually have something that was, since there's people involved, you need to have it a little bit better than just better than four wheels. Also, another thing which might be more controversial is that if you look at a lot of equipment at the time, you rarely saw the where the wood intersected. And that is because the wood that was used during the wooden car era, oops, something came off. We lost a strand. We'll put the strand over there. I'll go from there. Normal wood today is pretty much finished. They put an edge on there, so a rounded edge, so people who are handling it don't get slivers and stuff like that. But during this time, a 2x4, which is 2-inch by 4-inch, was an actual 2x4. The reason why today a 2x4 is 1 3/4 by 3 3/4 is because they turn around and they round off the ends. But there are some places where you can actually still get true 2x4s and all that, and they are completely squared off. I helped with a restoration of a caboose from 1916, and you can actually tell there was one section that was not the wood was not replaced. It was directly underneath the cupola, and you can see the whole entire car. You can see where all the grooves are, where they used all the modern wood. But where the wood was original, where the 2x4s were not rounded, once they painted back over it and all that, you couldn't see where the wood was. But yeah, if you look at I've seen pictures of this caboose, and if you look at it, someone might complain that, oh, you used plywood underneath the cupola. That is not the case. The case is that they actually retained the same wood that actually had 9-degree corners on it. So when you paint over it, you didn't see the grooves as well. There we go. All right, it looks like that's ready to dry. Up next is actually to find out where I put the silver. Probably should have thought of that before hitting the stream button, but oh well. Now, the reason why I'm using Citadel is that because of there is about 15 minutes away from where I live, there is a gaming shop, and that's what they have for the miniatures and etc. There's also a art supply shop that's also nearby. So that's why I'm not using the quote standard style of paints. But one of the things I am thinking on doing is revisiting an old project. All right. And that is the one that has the covered bridge on it, and basically turning around and putting it on a slightly larger base. But haven't figured out exactly how to maneuver stuff at this point. One thing I'm probably going to have to do is add more. Hold on a second. Add more of the base. The interesting is about this base is that I actually got it from work. And that's what this is this. Basically, I wound up cutting it up and all that because this makes a cute little trough for a bit for a stream. Now the thing is that not many people will recognize this. I work at a place that makes mattresses, and these are used spacers that are used between bolts of fabric. Each bolt would be in the corner here and all that, and that keeps it from bouncing around the pallet. As you can see, it's pretty much recycled cardboard from the looks of it. And so basically when it gets damaged, we're constantly getting these in. So they wind up being, I'm grabbing ones that are slightly damaged because we do reuse them in other things. But if they're too damaged, it's basically, hey, I'll just grab it, use it, for making, the little troughs and all that. And actually, you can see on this one, I actually turned around and actually cut a little bit off and added a little section here, which I'll probably do again. But just had lunch. Gotcha. Oh, hello there, Trackside Mike. I would have to say the bobber caboose. I think lasted on logging lines because they usually were not intermodal. That's also where you wind up using the older style trucks a lot longer. But yeah, logging railroads were sort of they usually did not follow standard practice. But yeah, my idea on this one is to make this a little bit larger. Also, I bought a second one of these Queen Post covered bridge. However, I'm not making it a covered bridge. I'm making it what's called a covered truss bridge, where a covered bridge obviously covered the entire bridge. A covered truss bridge only covered the truss portions. One of the 2-foot narrow gauge railroads just refurbished one. So my plan is to, make the covered truss one, which obviously I won't be using the roof tiles, but I gotta get a hold of Rick Hunter, who made the bridge. Originally, I was going to take the uncovered bridge and then use that as the base to it. And he turned around and said, no, you want to have this one because this has all the amount of wood that you would need. So that's why I went that direction. But I'm also thinking about using more of the other parts there to turn around and figure out a way to make this a little bit more larger and complete, I guess. But haven't gotten that far yet. It was one of those things. I finally got all the parts together and all that. Now I just got to figure out how to make it happen. So, and probably have to turn around and actually recolor everything because the base on this is green, and sort of have to realize that I should have went with brown instead to make it a little bit more realistic. But that's what my plans on that one are. All right, put that over here. And all right. And so, all right, well, let's see. Not quite sure how he did this because it's staples on the outside here, but they're inside the plastic here. So my assumption is that he buys the thing in tubes, sealed the bottom, put everything in, and then stapled the top, and then sealed that, which is sort of kind of interesting. But basically what I'll be doing is combining the instructions for the covered bridge with the uncovered bridge. I did the uncovered bridge earlier. That was the first one I did. Well, the first bridge that I did. But basically, the main difference between this and the covered bridge is that they actually have like this rods for the bracing, which I will not be doing. But I will be doing the braces for the outside. Those will be covered. So that's the plan on that one. So it's one of those things of taking the plans out of this one and then sort of marking them up what needs to be done to make it a covered bridge, or a covered truss, I should say. All right, let's see if we can pull this out. But well, hello, Randall. Thank you for popping in. Same thing with you, Boilermaker Rick. And I did not see that Kyle snuck out on us. But yeah, it's one of those things of work has to come before hobbies, because, well, work pays for hobbies. All right, there's that. Got a new trash bag right here, just out of camera frame. That. All right, those are out. And let's slice this open. Technically, this is not an unboxing because, well, it's not a box. Unbagging? I guess we can call it that. I'm more interested in the instructions. Okay, that came out. Yeah, those are the shingles. And this is a picture of what's supposed to be if you're doing it as a covered bridge. And of course they have it so it's a little bit weathered, so that's why there's things that are missing and all that. And when I built mine, I built it as it was being properly maintained. Okay, there's the roof sheathing, which we don't need. Those are the roof shingles, which we don't need. Those can be put in someplace else. Those are nut and bolt washer castings, which I don't know if we need or not. Because if they're hidden, there's no use to having them. All right. Now, things we do need the ties. 8x8 ties. 8x12. What was that for? 6x10s, 6x6s, 8x14s, which I believe are the stringers. 3x10s. All right, the 1x2s, that's the sheathing we definitely need. 3 by 10 maybe. All right, let's get the instructions out. All right. All right, that's the side assembly. Da-da-da-da. So this is, basically is a general description on how to do everything. So the idea is to get it to this, however, redesign it so these come out a little bit, so there's it's the side bracing. I'm not planning on actually staining these because they're going to be inside, so that'll be silly to do that. Now this actually adds the quote roof or the siding, which I'm not planning on doing specifically. These look like all the 3 by 10s. But yeah, here's where they make it so it's a little bit weathered and all that, which I'm not planning on doing that. 1 by 6, 1 by 6. 1 by 6. That's the. I'm not quite sure if we're going to do that or not. That might be a smart way of doing it. Basically putting a nailing strip across the bottom and all that, so that would be a place to actually put stuff on. This is definitely something to do after. Yeah, 1 by 12s. Yes. All right. So that's the instructions. These are the plans. Ooh, Northwest Shortline chopper. Well, Split Rock. I got the number 3. I only have one handle with it, but yes, this will be used. Another thing I'll probably wind up using is the Ultimation sander. That'll be more for keeping things accurately. Using the chopper to get it close to size, and then final size on the sander. But all right, now this is for the covered bridge. As you can see, this is where it's showing all the how that is. That's the nail strapping. All right, that's what I'll probably wind up adding nail strapping to the truss side of it. Other than that, pretty much ignoring the gable and rafters and all that, because we're not doing that part. We're only covering up the trusses. This is this on here. This is just the Queen Post bridge, uncovered version. So basically, it's going to be sort of like a combination of these two. whereas this one, the cross brace is made out of wood. With this one, I'll probably do it that way just to give it some stability, because the rods that I've made on this on the regular one doesn't really give it that much stiffness. So I'll probably use the side view of this, but the overview of the 16-foot clearance, where the cord is, two of the cords are a little bit longer, and then also have a diagonal brace. And then also using the 1x12s that cover the bridge, it'll be covering this whole section here, and also the side diagonal braces. Or at least that's what the plan is. So I'll probably mark this up of, like with the top cord, it's like, okay, that has, the top cord here has to be extended by whatever this is. Also figure out what that is. Also, at the same time, figuring out what needs to be stained. This right here doesn't have to be stained because it's going to be all underneath everything. So, if you don't have to stain it, don't stain it. Whereas the covered bridge, everything had to be stained because you could see inside. But with the covered truss, you're not seeing everything. But all right, well, it looks like it's almost time for Sidetrack Sunday. I believe it's with Humanity Junction this week. Probably gonna have to see about asking about stickers and all that from Rick, Ray, and John. See if they have everything. So it's like one of those things of, now that I'm planning on being ahead of them, I could turn around and go, hey, go see the Sidetrack Sunday crew. So since we're doing that, let's pull this back. Down the green screen. And now switch over to the other camera. All right. Well, hello there, Frank from Central Appalachia. Sadly, I'm getting ready to go ending this stream. I am going to switch over to probably a lot of pairs. I think gotta wander off to I believe it's Heath from Humanity Junction. So I'll be heading over there for Sidetrack Sunday. So hopefully we'll see people there. Humanity Junction is, unfortunately, because how Keith has it, it's not a real quick setup. But all right. And we'll make Grandpa Rails a monitor. And the same thing with Sidetrack Mike. I'm going to be ending the stream. So see everyone at Sidetrack Sunday with Humanity Junction. And I believe the world needs more love. So find your passion. And meatballs and lots of meatballs. Nice. Um, so find your passion, and um, yeah, find your passion and add some silliness to it and spread it around. All right. Good night, or good. The thing is that technically right now it's a good night, but the thing is if you're watching this at a different time, but I'll eventually get a nicer, smoother ending. So goodbye, everybody.